I'm reminiscing a little bit on back in January when the narrative was very simple. Buy AMC and hold AMC until the hedge funds have to offer higher and higher and higher prices until people are finally willing to sell AMC. Well, now the story has changed a little bit, and it's becoming, man, every time the price goes down, there's market corruption and manipulation going on out there, and it seems like every single stock of AMC is being held by an ape, and we're not selling it, so who's selling these shares? So guys, we need to talk a little bit about this because yes, although there may be corruption, although there may be manipulation in the market, the story stays true. If you hold AMC, the hedge funds will offer higher and higher and higher prices until we are finally willing and able to sell our shares. So of course, if all of this sounds like something you're interested in, let's get started. What's up, everybody? I'm Clay. I'm here to make 2021 the best year ever. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Join us. Become a bro. We are here every single day, and we are growing our portfolios together. All right, AMC stock. The story started out very simple, and now everything is unwinding, and we're seeing all of this manipulation going on, and man, can we win if all they do is manipulate the price? Well, look, we've come a very long way since January. If you look at $5 to $50, that is an amazing gain in a couple months period. Sure, we backtracked a little bit from $70, but it's very funny to me how every time the price goes down, how every time we can't get past a certain price point, manipulation is to blame. So let's talk about manipulation. Let's talk about corruption and how we battle it, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's very simple. So I know there are a lot of high-profile lawyers out there doing interviews with YouTubers talking about the corruption that takes place on Wall Street and really inciting all of the people who are investing in these meme stocks right now. Well, first and foremost, if there was any identified corruption, I am sure these blood-hungry lawyers would be the first ones in line to take advantage of those $400 million settlements they get talked about. So let that be known, that if there was any evidence of corruption or any inkling of corruption taking place in particular stocks, they would be all over it. So we know that for a fact. A lawyer isn't going to leave a quarter on the table. He's going to make sure that he grabs it. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the different ways that we can see corruption in the market. Naked shorting. It was legal up until about 2008, right? And naked shorting is simply the fact that you can sell an unlimited amount of shares on a company without borrowing those shares first and without even looking to see if they're available to borrow. Excellent. This was a great way to drive the price of the company down. It was an excellent way to drive the stock price down to almost nothing because you didn't need to borrow the stock, so you didn't need to pay the interest to borrow it, and you didn't even need to see if it was available. So yes, you could have essentially shorted unlimited shares. That is illegal at this point, okay? Now, legal shorting is still allowed. If you can borrow the stock, or you can see that it's available to borrow, you are allowed to sell that stock without owning it. You've borrowed it. You pay the interest rate to borrow that stock, and then you sell it to somebody else. Now, here's where things can get complicated, and here's where you may not agree with the current law. Now, if you, let's just use an example, okay? Hedge fund A borrows the stock from a margin account, and then they short that stock. Now, the new owner, he keeps that share in a margin account. Now, he can go out and loan that share out, and it can be shorted by another hedge fund. So yes, the same share can essentially be shorted multiple times. You may or may not agree with that. It could be a decent way to drive the price of the stock down. But every single person or every single institution that is borrowing that share is, one, paying the borrow rate on that. Now, we know that when the short interest rises, that decreases the amount of shares that are available to borrow and increases the borrow rate. So when the borrow rate gets above 100%, you can't make, unless that company goes bankrupt before the year is over with, you will lose money on that short position. The most you can make on any short position is 100%. So when you see the borrow rate go above 100%, you can expect one of two things. One, the stock price is going to go bankrupt. The stock price is going to go to zero before the end of the year. Or two, the short positions are not going to be able to play and they will be covered. Now, the next thing you need to know about lending a stock out multiple times, these are legal short positions. And that's how you see phenomenons like GameStop come into play, where the short interest is over 100%. You might say, how can that be possible to short more than the shares that are available? It's because the same share is loaned out multiple times. And what that does, that is all tracked. They are all legal IOUs. They are all legal borrowed shorts at that time. So they will be covered. It is something that is kept track of. The borrower is paying the borrow rate, and they will have to cover that position. So that creates phenomenons like we were seeing with GameStop. Now, of course, we talk about AMC, right? It's really what we're all interested in. So let's talk about what kind of corruption we could be seeing on AMC. Could we see multiple shares borrowed and sold short? Yes, but the reported numbers do not reflect that. Now, I know a lot of people out there might think that naked shorts exist that aren't being reported on, and okay, maybe they do. Maybe they will someday be exposed. But if that's the case, guys, if they're not reported to the SEC as failed to delivers, if the SEC hasn't done anything about it, what's going to happen? How do they get exposed, right? There would have to be a lawsuit at that point to expose these things. And as we've heard from some very high-profile lawyers lately, if that were to take place, then yeah, maybe they could come to a settlement. But nobody's filing these lawsuits at this point. So who's on your side? What can you do? What can I do? It's very, very, very simple. And it brings us full circle back to where we all started. If you have a margin account, turn off your lending, okay? If you have a cash account, hold your AMC shares in your cash account. Why is it so important? A lot of people might think that if you've got a margin account and the borrow rate for AMC is extremely high, why don't you just go lend out your shares, okay? You don't receive that interest rate. It's not going into your account. The lender is not you. If you're in a margin account, you're allowing the broker at that point to lend out your shares. They take the risk because they're the ones that are going to cover those shares if the borrower goes bankrupt. So they're the ones that receive that borrow rate. It's not you, it's the broker. So if you have them and they're able to be lent out right now, look at maybe not doing that. If you hold your shares, you might be saying, well, of course, the apes own the entire free float. We own 80+% at this point. Every retail investor, please do not get skewed by thinking that every retail investor is an ape. Please do not get skewed by thinking that every single retail investor that holds AMC is holding for a short squeeze. Guys, that is absolutely not the case. Day traders are insane. And I know that there are computers out there on Wall Street trading the share multiple times per day and driving up that volume. Okay, they're taking advantage of the volatility. How do you get volatility down? You lower the volume. How do you lower the volume? You hold the share. If you think that the high-frequency trading computers on Wall Street are going to trade AMC multiple times per day when every single legitimate shareholder is holding the stock and not trading it, it's not going to be the case. They're going to walk away from it because the volatility is not there, and they're not going to be able to make the price percentages and the percentage gains on their portfolio that they can currently make because of all the day traders and swing traders that are interested in AMC right now. Look, you and I, we know that the potential for AMC is out of this world. And it might sound dumb that we say we're going to the moon, but the potential is absolutely out of this world. And that's where that comes from, okay? We have blank checks that the hedge funds have written. We have IOUs with a blank number. And as long as we can hold out and not sell those shares back to the hedge funds, then absolutely they will pay that number. If they go bankrupt, the people who loaned those shares out, the brokers that loaned those shares out to the hedge funds, they will pay that number. So don't think that this is just going to end and nobody's going to get paid, or that the manipulation is so strong that nobody's going to get paid, because the hedge funds are on the hook, and then if it goes through them, the brokers are on the hook, and then if it goes through them, the clearinghouses are on the hook, and if it goes through them, the government insurance is on the hook to pay out these shares. Now, I see a lot of people talking, they're going to sell when it hits 100 because they saw it drop from 78, and then they might buy back in if it drops back down to 50. If you're willing to day trade AMC at this point, it's not helpful to the squeeze. Sure, you can make your 10 and 20 and 30% gains like all of the other day traders that are out there, but you're not going to see this thing reach its out of this world potential if you're day trading. So guys, yes, there may be corruption surrounding AMC. Is it at the level right now where it's warranting legal legal advice or legal counsel? No, they're not jumping on it. And trust me when I tell you that lawyers would be all over it if they knew how much money they could make by suing these banks, by suing these hedge funds, and tying these people up in all of the legal action that could take place here. So it's not at that point yet. Will it get there one day? Maybe. But right now, it's on us. So what do we do? If you're in here for 11 minutes already, you're obviously interested. So what do we do? Exactly. We buy the stock and hold the stock. I've been holding since the first time I purchased AMC. I have not sold a single share. I have not contributed to the day trading, to the swing trading, to the volatility, to any of that. So all of those 300, 400, 500, 700 million shares that you see traded, those aren't the bros out there. Those aren't the apes holding AMC and waiting for a short squeeze. So guys, hopefully the simplicity of the movement doesn't get caught up by all the corruption. Because let me just throw this out there. If you're still here 12 minutes in, you've obviously got your tinfoil hat on right now. You know about the corruption that's going on. What if the hedge funds are out there planting these seeds of corruption, planting these ideas that the market is so corrupt that, one, it scares new investors away so they won't buy AMC, and two, the people who have been in it for quite a while and they see the price drop back down 20%, 30%, they say, okay, the corruption is so strong, it's time for me to get out. So what if the hedge funds are planning the ideas of all this corruption just to scare away new investors and people who might be afraid to lose money? Think about that for a while, because at the beginning, this movement was very simple. We buy the stock, we hold the stock, and we make money. So, and just to end all of this, I want everybody to know that AMC is not worth $55 a share. It has no fundamental value even near that range. So you're not investing in the fundamentals of AMC. You are strictly trading the stock on a speculative basis, knowing that the hedge funds have shorts out there that they absolutely have to cover. So don't get confused. Don't stray away from the plan, and just know, if we hold the stock, we make the money. So guys, hopefully, if you're still here, let us know down in the comments below that you are holding the stock, that you're not selling it, and that if you're, just let us know, guys, that that's your plan, is to hold and watch this squeeze happen. Simple as that. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Join the channel, become a bro. We're here every single day, and of course, we're growing our portfolios together. Twitter is ClayBro883. Webull, the link is in the description below. Deposit $100. Get those stocks. Sell them if you want. It doesn't matter. If you don't want to use my link, use somebody's link, and ClayBro.com if you want to check out some t-shirts and stickers and everything else we got out there. It's a good place to get them. So, of course, until the next time, I hope that each and every one of you have an awesome day.